back. Our next guest's resume could fill a few lifetimes. He's a rapper, producer, journalist, former poet laureate, a Polaris-prize winner, and published author.
In his new memoir, yeah, I know, right? He's got a new memoir entitled Bedroom Rapper, Cadence Weapon on hip-hop resistance and surviving the music industry. He takes us back to his Edmonton roots and tells a story of Canada's music scene like you have never heard about it before. We are thrilled to have here Rolly Pemberton, a.k.a. Cadence Weapon. Welcome. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're gonna dive right in. So you call Edmonton, quote, the most unlikely place to rap on the planet. But here you are, massively accomplished as well. So your success in the rap game, is it in spite of where you come from or because of where you come from?
Oh, it's really inspired by it, you know? I feel like it was really lucky for me to come up in Edmonton, you know, because I got to do my own thing. You know, it wasn't like being in Toronto where it's like, oh, I gotta be like Cardinal, I gotta be like all these other people. I just had to be myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you were coming up in the early 2000s, and it was at a time when, like, the idea of being a Canadian rapper, listen, let's call it what it is. It wasn't commonplace. And it was actually getting attention in the US that really, you know, brought you out in Canada. Why do you think that is here?
It's a thing in Canada, especially with the arts, you know, whether it's music or like comedians or whatever. Once you get that cosign from the Americans or the UK, then you're legitimized in Canada. And I don't know why we don't do it for our own first. We gotta do that first.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. It's terrible, and it really does need to be fixed. The book is so deeply personal, but you also get into a major sort of history lesson on the Canadian music scene, and you've said that you wanted to provide an alternate history. How so?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's an underground Canadian music history. You know, I've been around all these different music scenes, you know, I used to live in Montreal, I lived in Toronto, I lived in Edmonton, and there's all these artists that, you know, maybe you don't see on TV, but they really had an impact to the overall music scene in Canada. And I just wanted to, you know, highlight all the important artists that I've come across, you know, in my travels, you know?
Love that.
The other thing you highlight is sort of turning the music industry, what happens behind the scenes, inside out. And there's a big through line through your entire book about how a lot of artists are really exploited in the music industry. So, for example, you basically worked for free under your last music label for a decade.
Yeah.
A decade before parting ways, and they even took the money from your Poet Laureate prize.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, listen, there's a lot to learn from that, but what was your biggest lesson or takeaway from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it feels like it was a bit of like a music industry cliche. And, you know, I realized the more I learned about it, that it was something that has happened throughout history, and I wasn't alone in this, you know? And the more I learned about it, you know, I don't really, you know, it doesn't bother me anymore. For me, it's like just something I grew from, and I just want to keep it moving and keep it positive, you know? And I wrote this book basically so what happened to me would never happen to any other artist, you know? And I just wanted it to be, you know, like, you know, something that people can look on and learn from.
Let's go back to 2009. You were 23 years old.
Yes.
You were named Poet Laureate of Edmonton. At the time, you were the youngest Poet Laureate in the world. And you called that decision controversial and radical, and you experienced a lot of pushback. Why do you think there was pushback, and what did resistance look like?
Well, you got to realize, you know, back in 2009 in Canada, the idea of, you know, a young black rapper being considered a poet laureate was not as common, you know? Nowadays, you have Kendrick Lamar, you know, winning the Polaris-prize, and you have, you know, people like Amanda Gorman in America, you know, as a poet laureate. But back then, it was just very atypical. And, you know, I got a lot of, you know, flack. I remember in one of the newspapers, they compared my lyrics to Shakespeare as a joke, kind of, like they were, like, making fun of me. You know, and it's like, I mean, I just took that and it just made me go harder with my lyrics to the point where, you know, they would be unassailable on the page. And now we have a book to prove it.
Yeah. I want to know what that
that newspaper was.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
We'll talk
offline.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rolly, if people may or may not know this, but you are a walking encyclopedia when it comes to music. And so we're gonna take advantage of the fact that we have you, this music authority, with us on the show today. We actually reached out to our audience and said, hey, listen, why don't you send us some of your unpopular music opinions, and then we're gonna read them, and you're gonna tell us, is it a good take or a mistake? Shall we?
Let's go.
All right, good take or mistake?
So we got this one a lot. Here's the take, quote, "The Beatles are overrated."
Hot take or mistake?
That's a mistake.
Okay.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, just because something is very popular and very successful does not mean it's automatically overrated. The Beatles are legitimately good.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
got
rocking,
it. Done. Yeah.
I'm rocking with the Beatles.
Good,
Beatles hive.
Okay, got it.
Okay, next one. The 90s was the best decade for music. Good take, mistake.
You know what? I'm gonna have to say that's a mistake.
Oh.
Despite, you know, I guess I'm kind of I'm an 80s baby.
So
I'm an
what's the
80s
decade?
baby. And for me, like, even listening back, the 80s, I think low-key is the best music.
Yeah, okay.
And doesn't all the new music that come out now, it sounds like the 80s?
That's right.
Does it not?
I
There's
think
a
The
reason
Weeknd's
for that.
entire album.
Okay, good take or mistake. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall is better than Thriller.
Ooh.
I know. Wow.
Ooh, that's a hot take. That's a mistake. Okay.
Yes.
You know, I don't know who said that. That gets a thumbs down for me. I mean, Thriller is the one. You know, it's
Yeah.
the one for a reason.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's one, again, submitted by our audience, not me.
Okay.
Drake makes R&B elevator music.
I feel like you're trying to get me into beef right now. I think that's a mistake. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think
There it is. There it
No,
is.
he's a rapper. Nowadays, he makes club music.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm not mad at that either, by the
Yeah.
way. All right. Nickelback is one of Canada's best rock bands.
Now,
Good take or mistake?
now I might lose my Alberta card with this, but it's a mistake. No, I know it's it is like I don't want to pile on or anything. You know, I don't like to be negative, but I cannot abide by that. I'm just saying.
Roy, it's been so great to have you here and so much fun. Thank you for your expert analysis. The book is called Bedroom Rapper. We guarantee you're gonna learn a whole lot from the book. So go get your copy today, and we will be right back.
Hey there, and thanks for sticking around. Wasn't that just fantastic? You know where you can get some more all-around great content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with all the laughs and thought-provoking chats you could ask for. So do yourself a favor, like and subscribe now.